Hello, we are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview one of the best matchups in the country in week 2. That is Texas going to the Big House to play Michigan. 11 Central kickoff. Thank God this is on Fox, meaning I know I can at least watch this one as a DirecTV customer. So there's that. Texas is a 7-point favorite on BetOnline, over under of 44. That makes a predicted Vegas final of Texas 26, Michigan 19. Michigan last week in Sherrod Moore's debut, 30-10 win over Fresno State. Kind of underwhelming there offensively. Texas, meanwhile, a very decisive 52-0 win over Colorado State after a second quarter blitz. That's the Longhorns' first game in the SEC. But Chase, let's face it, this is the one that Texas has been circling all off season. Great tune-up game in week 1. Can't wait to talk about this one. But first, before we do, tell the folks who sponsors our channel.
Yep, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. They have every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. And if you think you know your stuff, you can get in on a $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. And when the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. So head over to their website today to get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here.
All right, let's talk about when Texas has got the ball against Michigan's defense, because I think this is going to be the most interesting side of the matchup. We know Sherrod Moore lost a lot of starters and a lot of things off that national title team last year. Of course, Jim Harbaugh, the coach, now in the NFL, but this defense, everywhere you look, looks to be elite. I mean, you've got All-Americans, preseason all Big Ten guys all over the place. You got star power, and just give you a few names. Josiah Stewart last week, 5 tackles, 3 for loss, 2 sacks. He's the Coastal Carolina transfer. That whole defensive line is getting some preseason all Big Ten love. You got RayShaun Benny, had 5 tackles and a sack last week. Mason Graham, a preseason first-team All-American at tackle. And then you got Kenneth Grant, who was Phil Steele's third-team preseason all Big Ten team. So all 4 of their defensive linemen getting some preseason love, whether that is all Big Ten, whether that is All-American. You got a cornerback, Will Johnson, preseason first-team All-American, and linebacker Jaishawn Barham, a preseason first-team All-Big Team pick, Maryland transfer. This is a defense. I think I was looking at Athlon, and I think it had each of the linebacker group, the defensive line group, and the defensive backs rated in the top 10. Texas, I know they got some playmakers on offense, but this is the side of the matchup that I'm most excited about watching because, boy, it is strength on strength here.
It is. It's going to be so much fun to watch, and this is a different Michigan team than what we saw last year. But yeah, this defense is really good, and I'm excited to see this high-powered Texas offense go up against this defense. Now Texas put up 52 points against Colorado State, and Colorado State's not a bad team by any means, and yet Texas was able to put 52 points on them. And so that shows just the offense that Texas has, and it will be a great matchup for them going against all those guys you mentioned for Michigan. But you think Quinn Ewers, just the All-American quarterback that he is, and the targets he has to go to, and Isaiah Bond and DeAndre Moore and Silas Bolden and Amari Niblack at tight end, Gunnar Helm also the tight end, and other guys in there as well, and Jaden Blue running the football. I mean, there's so many weapons on this offense. But then you look, Chris, at the offensive line, which I think is really intriguing when you got a guy like Jake Majors and DJ Campbell and Hayden Connor, Cameron Williams, those guys who are really good offensive linemen. I think to see these two, the offensive front, the defensive front, go at each other on Saturday is going to be so much fun to watch because it's 2 really good units. And so I'm really excited to see this Texas high-powered offense versus the strength of the Michigan defense. I think that's going to create a really fun game for Saturday morning.
Well, let's flip sides of the ball. Michigan's offense couldn't exactly be characterized as high-powered after last week. 269 yards against Fresno State. Quarterback Davis Warren, former walk-on, 15 of 25, 118 yards. a touchdown, a pick. Mullings, a running back, goes 19 for 92, 6.1 yards per carry. He led the team, even though Donovan Edwards was a preseason second-team Athlon All-American. He struggled last week, 11 carries, 27 yards. Now, they got a real weapon at tight end, Colston Loveland, preseason first-team All-American by a few outlets, 8 receptions, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. I think that's where a stud tight end is a matchup problem for a lot of teams. But Texas played a lot of guys on defense last week. I mean, that was an impressive performance, 192 yards allowed, no points to Colorado State. Yes, I know it's Colorado State. The Mountain West isn't exactly the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, but that's a program in Jay Norvell that had a preseason first-team All-American receiver. They can score some points. Texas's defense played a lot of guys last week and a lot of guys making a lot of plays. And I think if you're Michigan, you got to be concerned that you didn't generate more offense last week against Fresno State.
Yeah, I think that is the concern for Michigan's team this year. Is it's not the same offense as that we're used to seeing at Michigan that we saw last year in their national championship year. But I do like Texas's defense. I think you mentioned they played a lot of guys on Saturday. A lot of guys got in. They got some, especially on the defensive front, they got some really, really good guys, really big guys there on the defensive front. So I really like that. They got some good guys in the secondary, Malik Muhammad, Anthony Hill, Makuba. Just these guys are really good athletes. I like their secondary. I think it's the matchup definitely leans in the favor of Texas on defense when Michigan's offense, and maybe we see a lot more from Michigan this week than we saw this past week. But yeah. I didn't feel like it's a team that's going to move the ball on this level of defense that Texas has.
Yeah, and let's talk picks. That's kind of where I come down. If you can't really move the ball this day and age, and look, 2 caveats. A lot of times you see the most improvement between week 1 and week 2. Right. So maybe there's that, but this was a place where we already had questions about Michigan. They replaced so many guys, including a first-round quarterback. Texas's defense was just so good last week. Now Michigan is going to be a challenge, but it's not. And I know that the Big House is a great environment, but the way the stadium is constructed, I've been there. What I was told, the noise filters more towards the back of the building than the front. So I don't know that it's going to be a thing where you can't hear yourself think or get plays off. And we saw what Texas did last year going to Alabama. As tough an environment as you can get in college football. You got the same quarterback that won you that game last year. I just like Texas to win this game. I just think they've got way more answers at offense. We love the way the defense played. I don't know if they cover the 7 or not. My guess is they would. I don't bet that for a reason. But, hey, that's where I come down on this. But how about you?
I'm going to go Texas as well, and I think Texas can show everybody here that hey, we're trying to win a national championship. Like we're for real. Like, and I think people respect Texas and know that they're good, but I think this is a chance for Texas to show that yes, we're one of the best teams. We're one of the best top 4 teams in the country right now, and I think they can. I think they can win this one big. I just don't think Michigan can score the points. Now, will they be able to stop Texas? I think they can, but I think Texas offense is so good there, it'll be minimal stops. But I just don't think Michigan is going to be able to move the ball a lot on Texas, and even enough to get a couple of touchdowns on the board. I think they may get some field goals, but I think Texas is so good on defense as well as offense. I just don't think Michigan can move the ball much on them at all.
Yeah, that predicted final, it's got Michigan to score 19. I feel like we got to see a lot better Michigan offense to get to that number, and I feel like Texas is going to get to 20. So we'll see how that goes. Again, my model's got it around 7, so it's got what Vegas has. But all right, we like the Longhorns. We'll talk about it afterwards on our Saturday night recap show. Best way to get that. Hit the subscribe button, costs you nothing. Hit the like button. That helps our analytics. Tell a friend. Advertising inquiries, caroline.smith@southeastern14.com. We reach millions a year. For Chase Robinson, I am Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.